And I think now is the time for the plenary session number 4. So the speaker for the plenary session number 4, we have with us Dr. Azade Nimati, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Language Teaching, Jairam Brand, Islamic Azad University, Jairan, Iran. So welcome, ma'am. Welcome to the conference. Welcome. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello, everybody. Do you hear me?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. You are quite audible.
Yes,
Welcome.
ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. First of all, let me thank all the committee members, organizers, and all the participants. And I wish you all the best and best of health during this time of COVID-19. I would also like to thank Dr. Sylvest for giving me this opportunity to be among you here on this 3-day international conference on teaching, learning, and education. 2 days ago, here in Iran, was the Teachers' Day, and I enjoyed Dr. Rashid's speech about teachers' quality. I also agree with him because teaching is a very critical and sensitive job. Now let me share my screen with you, which is about plagiarism and is it clear now? Yeah, it's coming. Can you see my file?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear? Okay. Okay. Thanks a lot. Well, as I stated before, I am Dr. Azadeh Nemati from Iran, Shiraz, the cultural capital of Iran. I hope that one day meet all of you here in Iran. And the topic is about plagiarism as a kind of academic misconduct, reasons and guidelines to avoid it, because it is a very a new and of course important issue. First of all, let me explain about academic integrity. Academic integrity means intellectual honesty, which is strongly linked to good academic practice. The university wants to give the students credit for their learning and for their work which has done. Academic integrity can be contrasted to academic misconduct. It occurs when students don't work themselves, and academic misconduct can take many forms and and it can be intentional or unintentional, which I think most of the time is unintentional. The different forms may include plagiarism, self-plagiarism, a lack of in-text referencing, collusion, ghostwriting, cheating, and other forms of unfair practice. Of course, during this pandemic and for the final exam, students, at least in Iran, but I think this is the same all over the world, they cheat a lot during the final exam. Many cases of plagiarism are committed each year as a result of misunderstanding. Therefore, it is better for the students to need what plagiarism is. It is improper or incomplete acknowledgement of a source of information, which is treated as intellectual theft. and the proper name is plagiarism. Any way, it is a kind of theft. So most people know that plagiarism is something to be avoided, but not everyone is sure precisely what it is. This short presentation is designed to help the students to understand more fully what plagiarism is and how they can avoid it. Plagiarism is a specific form of cheating, which is found in assignment completed by students. The university's academic principles and regulations state that plagiarism is the substantial and unacknowledged incorporation into a student's work of material derived from the work, published or unpublished, of another work, include internet sources. Nowadays, everything is available in the internet, so students can just copy and paste all the answers or whatever they are going to deliver to the university. Examples of plagiarism include the inclusion of a student's work of extract from another person's work without the use of quotation marks or acknowledgement of the source, the summarizing of another person's work without acknowledgement again, and the substantial and unauthorized use of the ideas of another person without acknowledgement. Again, what is plagiarism? I will repeat this sentence because it is very important. Using or copying the work of other, whether written, printed, in the internet, in any form without proper acknowledgements in the coursework. Types of plagiarism are here that I will explain. Copy someone else's work as if it were your own. Copy section of someone else's work, but change the odd word to phrase. Submit the same piece of work for two different assignments, even if they are two different departments. Submit written work produced collaboratively unless this is specifically allowed, and copy the work of another student even if they have consented. All of them are examples of plagiarism. What are common reasons for plagiarizing? Reasons for committing plagiarism vary from fairly innocent and accidental mistake to deliberate intention to devise. Unfortunately, no allowance is for whether the act was intended or accidental. There is no excuse because anyway, it's not good. Some reasons that are commonly given by that are commonly given by students, but they are not acceptable, are as follows: being unclear about what plagiarism is. Sometimes the students mention that they don't know what plagiarism is, so it is good to inform them. Having insufficient time manage the skills, or being idle. They don't have enough time, for example, at the end of the course. There are lots of course assignments, so they don't have any time. And being too disorganized with deadline to undertake and submit original work. Because you know that it is time consuming to do research. Having an ineffective method of note taking. Maybe sometimes they don't know how to do the right form of note taking. Not always recording the source of information. They know that the information is not is not for them, and they maybe forget the source. As a result, they write anyway, feeling under extreme pressure to pass or succeed, because most of the time students are scared of failing. They want to pass. As a result, they do cheating. And having different cultural values, practicing different academic conventions. Mistakenly believing that it will be easy to get away with, uh, how will it be detected? maybe students ask this question that it's not clear how the instructors, how the teachers will detect it. But nowadays with this technology, everything is clear. There are different tools for detecting plagiarism, such as Turnitin. Knowing that the syllabus has stayed the same each year and having unclear instruction for an assessment task, if in doubt, always clarify with your tutor, of course. Having a lack of academic confidence and being conditional from secondary schooling, not being familiar with the requirement to acknowledge source. Maybe the students come from high school or to university, and then they don't know how to do this research. Examples of some common mistakes include: I thought it would be okay if I include the source only in my bibliography. I made lots of notes for my essay and couldn't remember where I found the information. These are the common mistakes and common excuses that students may do. I adhere to other academic conventions. In a school, I was taught that copying from textbook and the internet showed that I done my research properly. And I thought it would be okay to use materials that I had purchased online. Or I thought it would be okay to copy the text if I changed some of the words into my own. Or I thought that plagiarism only applied to essays. I didn't know that it can also apply to oral presentation, group projects, etc. Or maybe students believe that they don't think that they needed to reference material founded on the web, which is a very common type of plagiarism. Or they may mention that they left it too late and just didn't have time to reference their sources. Okay, let's talk about benefits of referencing. Receiving credit for your own hard work and research, demonstrating your intellectual integrity by confirming to agree academic standard of good practice. Receiving meaningful feedback from your tutor that is targeted to the level you are really at, or contextualizing your work to show how it relates to current research and debates, and directing your reader to sources of information and enable them to pick up the thread. Okay, I'm talking to the researcher scholars and the students. Please make sure that you don't make these mistakes. If you require any further guidance, you should contact your department. Now, how to avoid plagiarism? I have brought 3 parts: note-taking, referencing, and paraphrasing, which I will explain one by one. The first one is note-taking. What's the distinction between quotation, paraphrase, and summary? Quotation is an exact duplication of the author's word as they appear in original source. Paraphrasing means a restatement of the author's word in your own word, and summary, a brief condensation of the main point of the original source. Also, yes, distinction between quotation I explained. Quick guidelines for avoiding plagiarism. Students should check all quoted materials in should put all quoted materials in quotation marks and identify sources from which they paraphrase or summarize, give credit for the creative ideas and they borrowed from a source. And when paraphrasing and summarizing, students should replace the structure of a paraphrase and the language with their own language and acknowledge. This is the very simplest way that whatever we say, whatever we mention, we have to acknowledge. How will it be detected? It is a very good question. Remember that I'm talking again to research scholars and the students, that tutors are experienced and have read widely on the topic you are studying. They will know if you have copied sections from text on the recommended courses, reading lists, or from the lecture notes or handouts. And also, everyone has their own style of writing. It is very clear for us as instructors to find the style of writing of the students and know them. I graduated, I got my PhD degree from Mysore University. My instructor there, I also remember her, was Dr. Jennifer Mary Bayer. She was a good, I mean, the best instructor in the world. Always looked at my eyes to see whether I am right or no, to check whether I have corrected all the data by myself or no. And students should remember that the tutor will be making the coursework for classes and year group. They will be able to recognize similarities between submitted work. Also, tutor is aware of the many cheat sites, as I mentioned before, for example, Turnitin, which is very likely that your tutor will have searched these sites for essays which might be available on particular topic. Well, and also students should remember that recent advances in technology makes everything clear and easy. Positive reasons for not plagiarism. Students should have pride in their work. Students should be able to take pride in their work and in the achievements they have attained. And there is considerable satisfaction in knowing that the work they have submitted is their own work and not someone else's work. Real level of attainment. It is possible that someone might plagiarize widely and not be discovered throughout the university career, but they will not really have learned anything and it is not useful for them. The discovery that their apparent attainment does not match their real abilities will then become obvious. What are different forms of plagiarism? Plagiarism can take many forms, such as copying from a single source, and this is where the students uses one of the following as the basis for their whole or a substantial part of the assignment. A published book, for example, a published article, the internet, essay, or a piece of work previously submitted to any other student or any other instructor for the same course or different courses. Copying from several sources. This is similar to the above, except that more than one source is used and the students obtain, for example, different sources, different information, and copies a sentence or a group of sentences from document A, some sentences from document B, C, and etc. Paraphrasing. This is putting someone else's view into your own word. To a certain extent, any essay or assignment which relies on reading a series of text as a basis of assignments will contain a significant amount of paraphrasing. There are three key things to remember in this case to ensure that it cannot be taught to be plagiarized. Don't use only one source and acknowledge all the source used, and take care when taking notes. Types of plagiarism. Sham paraphrasing, presenting verbatim material from a source text and acknowledging it as paraphrased. Illicit paraphrasing, paraphrasing materials from a source text without acknowledgement. or other types of plagiarism, copying material from another person, as I stated before, without his or her knowledge and permission, and verbatim copying, copying word for word from a source text, again without acknowledgement, recycling, resubmitting the same work for different courses, and ghostwriting, having someone else write an assignment and then presenting it as your own work. Or learning, copying another person's work without his or her knowledge and permission at all, plagiarism of secondary sources, which is common among the students, referencing to the original source cited or quoted in a secondary source without either looking or mentioning the original one. For example, the students read a sentence in an article while this is the secondary source and the first or primary source is a book. Paraphrasing, plagiarism, which is copying from a source of text, changing it slightly but not enough. For example, substituting synonyms for only a few number of words and acknowledging it as a paraphrase text. And plagiarism of the form of source, looking up primary source cited in the secondary source and organizing them in the same arrangement as the secondary source did without acknowledging a system dependent on it. Now, let's see what are the penalties. Maybe your instructors, university did not know that the students plagiarized. But anyway, if they know in all cases of offense found or admitted, the students will have to work again, unless this is the third offense. Or the students should probably be capped, or they may have to do their entire module again, or have to repeat the whole academic year and pay for it again if the university is not free of charge, or in some circumstances the students have to apply and pay for another visa if they are foreign students in another country to redo the work. And as a result, maybe they don't graduate with the friends or the students or their classmates. So I recommend that students should be very aware of plagiarism. I also myself brought the references here so that not to do plagiarize. I hope that you enjoyed this short presentation about plagiarism. This is also my phone, and I would be very happy if you have any question. Now I'm at your disposal. If I have enough time, I would like to show you something else, because before pandemic of this COVID-19, I used to go to different conferences around the world, and at the end of the conference, there were a tour. I would also like to invite you to a virtual tour to Shiraz, my city, and hope that you enjoy, and you are all invited to come to Iran, hopefully as soon as possible. This is about Jackie and Kat, who fulfilled a long overdue visit to Iran, and this is their idea about Iran. They have first read Eat, Pray, and Love book, and then they are going to show you some beautiful places of especially my city, Shiraz, as a cultural capital of Iran.
Thank you so much, Dr. Azadeh
Yeah,
Nemati.
we don't have enough time. Okay. Okay, just I will skip.
And how long is it?
This is
Isn't it?
Hafiz tomb, which is very famous. Yeah, thank you very much for giving this opportunity to be among you today, and also tomorrow I will attend the conference. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for enlightening our minds with your beautiful words and your wonderful lecture. And I'm sure that everybody is definitely get benefited with what you said and what you presented. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
ma'am, for being
you're
here.
most welcome. You're most welcome.